Hello class, today we are in chapter 6.3, page 156 in our science books. Today we're going to learn about work and energy. So first off, let's go and learn about work and more work. So what is work? Work is the result of a force moving an object. That means we are doing work when we are moving an object. So for example, when you are playing hard and having a good time, you are actually working. Let's say you're trying to move a chair, you are working. Let's say you're trying to move a book, you are working. But let's say you're just applying force and trying to push a wall, but that wall is not moving. That means you are not working because work is the result of a force moving an object. The wall is not moving. That means no work is done. Moving on to energy. We did learn about energy. I believe it was chapter number 8 or it was chapter number 5. But we did learn about energy. Energy is the ability to do work. Remember when I talked about energy and I in class, I tried to push that wall, but I couldn't. I couldn't do anything to that wall. That wall did not move. And I asked you, am I using energy? Some of you did raise your hand and said, yes, you are using energy because you're trying to push that wall. Some of you said no, because the wall is not moving. So energy is the ability to do work. If the wall is not moving, am I doing work? No. That means, am I applying energy? No, because energy is the ability to do work. As we are learning about energy, there are different forms of energy. So first off, let's go and learn about our first form of energy, which is light energy. Light energy is the energy that we can see. So an example will be when we fill our homes with light energy by turning on the light bulb. Can we see that light? Yes. So light energy is the energy that we can see. Moving on to the next energy is heat energy. Energy that we can feel. So when we turn on the burner on the stove, can we feel that heat? Yes. So heat energy is the energy that we can feel. Moving on to the next type of energy, which is atomic energy. Atomic energy is when atoms are split apart or joined together. So a nuclear power plant will be an example of atomic energy because it's using atomic energy to actually produce energy. So a nuclear power plant would be an example of atomic energy. And the next one will be chemical energy. Chemical energy is when it holds molecules and chemical compounds together. With chemical energy, we actually have electrical energy. Electrical energy is the light bolts, the lightning bolts, the power lines, and other electrical energies that we have. So we have the different forms of energy. We have the light energy, energy that we can see, heat energy, energy that we can feel, atomic energy when atoms are split apart and joined together, chemical energy when it holds the molecules and chemical compounds together, and then we have electrical energy, which some examples will be power lines and lightning bolts. So moving on, let's go and learn about types of energy. So we had energy, which is the ability to do work. We had the forms of energy. Let's go and learn about the types of energy. So what types of energy do we have? We have kinetic energy, and then we have potential energy. In addition to that, we also do have something called the chemical energy. So first off, let's go and learn about kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. So a flying bullet, a train, a falling rock, a bouncing ball, a running boy, that will all be kinetic energy, energy of motion. So moving on to next energy, next type of energy will be potential energy. There are energy that is stored. So for example, a book that is on top of a bookshelf, is that book moving? No, that book is storing energy. Now what happens when that book falls? is the energy of motion. That means that potential energy will change to what type of energy? It will change to a kinetic energy. And the last one will be chemical energy. This type of energy, though, is a special form of potential energy. So a slice of apple, a piece of wood, a lump of coal, a gallon of gasoline will all be chemical energy. So we have kinetic energy, energy of motion. So that means something is moving. As I said, a boy that is running will be kinetic energy. Potential energy will be like the book on a bookshelf. Another example will be, like, say, for example, at school. And sometimes I see students running around and I will come by, as, let's say, for example, let's use an example of one of my students. Let's use Micah. Okay, let's say Micah's running around the hallway and just back and forth running around when he shouldn't be running around, and I come as a teacher and I say stop, and Micah will have to stop. When he was running, he was using what type of energy? Kinetic energy. But once he stopped, what type of energy is he using? Potential energy. Why? Because he is not in motion. So we do have to know the difference between kinetic energy and potential energy. Moving on to transfer of energy. Now, how do we transfer that energy? Transfer of energy is a transfer of energy occurs when one object gives some or all of its energy to another object. Some of you do like bowling. Let me give an example with bowling. I do like bowling. I like to bowl. I know some of the students in 5th grade likes to bowl. So let's go ahead and give an example using that. So how does transfer of energy occur in bowling? So when you roll a ball, let's say you have a bowling ball, the ball itself has what? Kinetic energy. Let's say when we're rolling that ball, when the ball hits the pins, the kinetic energy that the ball had is transferred to where? To the pins, because the pins will be flying around. That means the ball had the kinetic energy in the beginning, but that kinetic energy was transferred to the pins, and those pins caught the kinetic energy. As you can see, that energy started from one object and gave all of its energy to another object, because the pins itself in the beginning were what? Potential energy. They were not moving. They moved when the ball hit the pins. So we do have to know the concept of transfer of energy. You do have to know an example of transfer of energy for the upcoming test that we will have for chapter number 6. So make sure you can use the example that I just gave using a bowling ball. The ball rolling will be kinetic energy. The pins will be potential energy. But once the ball hits the pins will change to kinetic energy because the energy was transferred. So that will be all for chapter 6.3. What you are going to do today, you're going to read chapter 6.3, and at the very end, what you are going to do, you're going to do the comprehension check for 6.3. Goodbye.